prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as... Look at the shields on the Martin.
Oh my god, the drone's gonna take him!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is HD.
And this is Pain User.
And we're back for Game 3 in the grand finals of IPL Season 2. I just want to thank you guys all for tuning in here. Once again, the players are fighting for either $10,000 or $15,000, man. So much money. You could buy a new car with that much money.
You could buy a couple new cars with that much money.
Maybe a couple used cars. I don't know. A couple of new cars. I don't know. What new cars are you looking at?
Hey, it depends on how high
are you looking
class
at cars made in
go.
North Korea or something, man? Come on now.
Well, I mean, hey, my car is honestly only worth like $6,000 used, so I'm a little bit on the cheap side of things right now.
I would not want to be riding in your car in an accident.
Hey,
here we are.
It's accident safe.
All right, we'll see about that. We'll have to do some research. Here we are. It's Game 3, man. It's Whiter versus Nerchio. Whiter taking a quick 2-0 lead in this series. And here we are in Terminus. Whiter is going to be spawning at the 3 o'clock position, and Nerchio is going to be spawning at the 6.
Now, on Terminus, I think Nerchio is going to have an opportunity here to really play his style. He can get into that macro game, and he can start using his strategical play to his advantage. We haven't really seen him really have an opportunity yet in any of these games.
Absolutely, man. I feel like Nerchio really prefers to play the late game style. This is a map where he can play that late game style. However, the players haven't exactly spawned cross spawn. They've spawned close by air in some respects. I mean, they're right next to each other in terms of, 3 to 6 o'clock. And we've already seen White opt to go for that quick Stargate 2 games in a row. It would not surprise me to see him take to the skies once again.
No, not at all. It's a very common trend in PvZ right now. A lot of players going for that quick Void Ray followed by some subsequent Phoenixes. It allows you to get some control over the map, and it allows you to harass the Zerg while trying to deny that third. You can kill the drones on the way to build the third, and you can kill the third itself if you get lucky and he's not ready or if he's out of position.
Absolutely, and sometimes those Void Rays can be very annoying because they can also pick off Overlords. I think last game there was a Void Ray that was going Overlord hunting, man. It was Overlord hunting season. Killed off about 3, I believe, and it set Nerchio back in supply by a considerable amount.
Yeah, Nerchio was constantly getting harassed throughout that game, which made things very difficult for him. You noticed when the eventual armies clashed over at Nerchio's third that his army was lacking. Yeah, he didn't have nearly enough to hold it off, and I think partially he was caught off guard, and he had been droning for too long. And also, I think it goes back to a lot of those Overlords getting picked off.
Yeah.
I mean, he did lose quite a few Overlords there, and that will affect your overall supply later on in the game.
Yeah, not just because Overlords, obviously provide supply for your units, but also because you gotta invest another 100 minerals and a larva to reproduce that Overlord, and it costs time. So it was quite painful for Nerchio. This game, he will have Zerglings out once again, but he's going to go straight for the backdoor rocks rather than trying to run by the cannon. And I actually like this because no player really expects those rocks to go down immediately.
Yes, and also this game he doesn't have nearly enough range to run around the cannon. It would be way more difficult for him. He'd probably lose all the lings, but hopefully he's not sending that Overlord into the cannon. Okay, he's going to stop that over the Nexus. We have seen players
it happens, man.
Forget about that Overlord and send it over the cannon. It does happen from time to time, but White Raw really getting an early lead in all these games with that super fast Nexus. He's dropping that before the first cannon, and yes, it's a little bit risky. I'm surprised Nerchio hasn't actually tried to, perhaps metagame him a little bit and go for a super early pool. We did see that in game
first
1,
game.
But that's on Shakuras.
Yeah.
The Protoss player has enough time to scout you, and he also has enough time to react if he sees the lings coming. On a map like Terminus, it would be much more difficult for White Raw to do anything. If he saw those Zerglings coming, it might be too late. He might have already dropped the Nexus.
Absolutely right. And it doesn't look like either player is going to go for that early rush you were mentioning. Maybe Nerchio will do it again. Haven't seen him do it quite yet. Also,
he's actually going for the early third this game.
Yeah, he is going for the early third. I was going to say just out right now. He's going to play that eco game, and this is a game where you can hold on to that third hatch very easily. But I wanted to point out, guys, that the Zealot was able to push those Zerglings away earlier, and White Raw is so intuitive, man. He knows that, yes, there may be Zerglings hitting these rocks. It's a danger. So he brought the Zealot out, but now there's a lot more Zerglings, and Whiterun cannot afford to pull the Zealot away because that forms a blockade for his wall.
It does indeed, and he may indeed pull that Zealot as these rocks get closer to death. He needs to be careful, though.
Yeah.
Nerchio really staying active, and he will pull that Zealot out to come assist. Might be a little worried about a run by here, but I think he has enough units to prevent the Lynx from getting in there, and he will thwart that attempt at blocking. And wow,
Yeah, so
White Raw
smart.
already had the back entrance blocked off just in case those Lynx were able to take down the destructible rocks. And we once again see an early Stargate here from White Raw. He will be getting a Void Ray out now, and he's going to head across the map and try and clean up some of those Overlords, but this game, Nerchio's done a much better job spreading his Overlords around, so it's going to be difficult for White Raw to really to find all those Overlords. I only see about 2 that are in the immediate vicinity of Nerchio's base.
It may be possible here that Whiterun isn't going to reveal the Void Ray quite yet. We can see it's just parked right now on the cliff overhanging over outer space. But he's maybe waiting for a couple more Phoenix, and here we
absolutely.
go. He's going to move in with 1 Void Ray, 1 Phoenix. This is enough to kill off a Queen, and that may be what he's looking to do. He's going to wait for the Void Ray to come in, look for the Graviton Beam, and the Void Ray begins doing its work, but 2 Queens are coming.
We have 3 Queens in position. I don't know if he wants to stay here and continue to fight this
my
Queen.
God,
He's going to
that's
lose
risky.
that Void Ray. They are on creep, and they will get that last shot off.
Yeah.
And that's a 4th Queen joining the mix. So Nerchio having none of the air harass this game. He says, White Raw, I don't want to have anything to do with it. He's going to stop that right off the bat and not sustain that heavy damage that we saw him take last game.
Yeah, last game, though, the Stargate just did so much work against Nerchio. It set him back in Overlords, it set him back in drones, it caused him to just frantically scramble around, trying to figure out what he would do to defend against that. This game, though, he held it down with his Queens. He suffered no damage at all. He even killed off the Void Ray outright. And I have to say, for the first time in this series, it looks like Nerchio has an advantage to start things off. He has 93 supply over 68 right now.
Yeah, but White Raw ahead in probes right now, 49 to 48. And that just shows how great his macro has been throughout this series. He's really staying on par with the Zerg player and gets another Phoenix right there. He's done such a great job throughout this series picking off Phoenix, but still, White Raw finds a way to do damage with those Phoenix and the Void Ray. But he can't lose too many more of those. Phoenix are very expensive units, and now we see Nerchio moving out with a pretty big squad of roaches here. Speed is actually about to finish. Is he going to go on the offensive at the 3rd here? He's probably going to head back and try and finish off those rocks, and White Raw has not very many units to hold this off. He only has 2 Stalkers and 2 Sentries, but he does have an Immortal on the way. Is that going to be enough?
Well, he only has 2 Warp Gates as well, so this really slows down the amount of units he can reproduce. He does have 4 Sentries, and that may be enough to hold off in terms of force fields for a while, but the Zergling's able to find just a little nook to come in,
missed the force
and
fields.
he is going to lose the cannons at the back
no.
door. Whiterun in a lot of trouble.
Oh, no.
He has to warp in more units, but I don't know if he's got enough, Pain User.
He has been caught off guard here. It looks like the 3rd will go down immediately, and now Nerchio taking a huge lead in this game. We do have a Void Ray out for White Raw. That will be able to eventually kill all of these units, but how much damage is going to be done before he can get rid of them all? That Immortal doing a great job picking off roaches right now. He's just going to town.
This Immortal right here is Scarface on the top of the stairs. He's like, you want some of me?
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, he's taking out those Immortals along with the, taking out those roaches along with the Void Ray doing the same as well. Will the sentries force field? Yes, they will. A gateway goes down. Whiterun is just barely hanging on right now, Pain User.
Did you like that, HD?
I like some of that.
Did you like that?
I like it.
Okay. There we go. Now the Immortals holding that off in conjunction with the force fields, but so much damage taken right there. I don't know if he's going to be able to recover. He's going with a mostly Void Ray, Immortal, Sentry, Stalker composition here, and that's perfect for dealing with roaches, but he's only working off of 2 base right now. Nerchio, sitting very pretty, is going to fall back to his main here, and now he's getting up some defensive structures just to prepare for an eventual counter, because he knows he is so far ahead right now. 132 supply to 104. what's White Raw to do?
Well, Whitener is going to have to figure something out. I mean, yes, he can grab the Nexus again and try to play that macro game, but he's taken some significant damage. That's a lot of money that he would have been making right now if he hadn't lost that Nexus. So he has an option. He can attack, or he can try to outplay his opponent and sit back and wait. But he does have this Air Force, and the Air Force is mobile, so he will maybe possibly be able to deny this hatchery. However, the attack squad of Hydralisk is coming, and I think Nerchio has enough Hydras to push away the Void Rays. So, wow, Nerchio here is on top of everything, Pain User, and I can't help but feel that Nerchio is about to take this game, man. He's really looking solid.
Well, he does have an eventual death push on the way right now. Gonna try and take out that Void Ray. No, he's not gonna catch up to it, because, God, those Hydras are slow off creep.
I know, man.
Slowly lumbering their way over to the base, but White Raw actually putting together a nice little squad here. I think he might be able to hold this off.
I think White Raw will be able to hold it off. However, Nerchio doesn't need to necessarily commit because he killed off the Forge. The thing, though, is he has Hydras, and they're really slow at retreating, so perhaps Nerchio...
well, he can afford to trade right now.
Yeah, this may be a one-way ticket. He may not have a way to come back out of here, so he is going to engage. He can't afford to trade, however, like you pointed out, Pain User.
He can indeed.
And it looks like the Colossus is going to come in here, and that may be enough to push away the Roaches and Hydras. Note, Extended Thermal Lance is on the way.
Nerchio just doing a great job right now, though. Most of the time, we will see the Zerg player get caught up in those force fields and not be able to do much damage.
Nice pull.
But Nerchio running in and out, baiting those force fields, is getting so much cost effectiveness out of this group of Zerg units right now. He has killed the Colossus. He's killed all the air units, the Phoenix, the Void Rays, and he continues to stream in units here. Yes, White Raw might hold this off, but he has taken heavy damage in terms of his army and his army composition.
This is one thing that Zerg players never really notice, is when you're attacking and you looks like you're about to win, why stop? Why macro up another hatchery? Just keep attacking. Rally all your hatcheries over to the opponent, and you will eventually break their back.
I agree. He is saturated on 4 bases right now. He has taken that middle fourth, so he's going to be relatively ahead in that regard. Well, he's way ahead in that regard.
He is
White
so
Raw
far ahead, man.
He has reestablished his third, and he is holding on. He's back up to 129 supply, but Nerchio soaring at 168, and he's really just going into that Sauron Zerg mode right now. He has 4 hatches up. He's rallying to his reinforcement point, and then he's just sending wave after wave of attack. If we see him take a 5th base here, and
things are going to go crazy.
Things are going to go crazy.
Absolutely nuts, man. And did you say he's soaring?
Sauron. Oh, I said soaring in supply.
Yeah.
Soaring like an eagle. He's up in the 189s right now.
I want to fly like an eagle. What he's doing, man. Space Jam's up in here. He's going to come in with more roaches. And I think he's going to be able to take the Protoss army out. White Raw not even bothering to pull his
3
Colossus back.
going down immediately.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't pull his Colossus back, man. White Raw being very careless with his units this series. And I think that may cost him the game right here, right now. He just doesn't have enough firepower to deal with the Roaches and Lings, man.
You couldn't have said it any better. Just getting careless right there. Not paying attention to his units. Those Colossus will go down, and those were his saving grace in this game. If he was going to come back into it,
the holy beacons of light, man.
I had visions of, 7, 8 Colossus stomping their way through Nerchio's base, and Nerchio not having made the Corruptor switch and being ready to deal with them. But all those Colossus go down. Looks like Nerchio's going to get the 3rd again here.
Ooh, that's disastrous.
And that could spell doom for White Raw. I don't know how he's going to recover here, folks.
Well, if the Nexus does indeed go down, yes, it will.
And so does the GG.
White Raw launches the GG. Well played by Nerchio, man.
All he had to do was right-click him back.
I mean, yeah.
Where was he? Where was he?
Yeah. He was in the space, man, playing basketball with Michael Jordan.
He must have been macroing or something. He wasn't paying attention right
honestly,
there.
like, all right, if he had pulled the Colossus back, do you still think he would have won?
I definitely think he would have been in a position to win that battle and stay alive.
Perhaps the battle, but the war is another story.
Hey, as long as you have 3+ Colossus on the field, you never know what's going to happen.
That's true.
And keep in mind, Nerchio was not making Corruptors yet, so if he did hold off that attack and was able to get a few more Colossus in there, his eventual counterattack could have been more than Nerchio was capable of handling. But as it stands, White Raw will fall to Nerchio, and that will take us to a game 4, which is something I am excited about.
Yeah, for a second there I was worried. I thought we were gonna have a quick 3-0 stomp, but Nerchio has brought it back just a little bit, and that brings the excitement level in the air to a whole nother level because Nerchio is fighting once again for survival, hanging by tooth and nail. Will he win the next game?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what happens. We're going to go right into game 4, so stay tuned, guys.